Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So I know you guys are used to seeing me on Fridays and Tuesdays, that's when I've been uploading, but I only got to post like once during one of the weeks I was in Italy instead of twice, so I'm trying to make up for that now. So I'm giving you guys a video today, but there will still be one on Tuesday and on Friday. For today's video, I'm going to be going through kind of how you should do your Common App activities, like how you should word everything in it, how you should order them, because I think this is a really important part of your application and you want to be able to showcase your activities in the best light. So I'm not going to be going through every single one of my activities today. I'm going to be doing that in another video if you guys are interested in seeing kind of like what activities I did and the actual order that I put my specific ones in. So yeah, that video will be the next one and that video will be coming on Tuesday. So for the sake of today's video, I'm going to be looking at two of my activities. They're not like my most important or like ones that are near the top, so they're just kind of more like basic ones that probably a lot of people will have. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is kind of how you want to order your activities. So there's basically three approaches you can take. The first one is to order them in order of importance to you, kind of decrease in order of importance. The second one would be to do it in order of how many hours you spend each thing. So the top would be the things that you spent the most time, and then at the bottom would be the things that you spent the least time. The third way that you can cluster them is kind of by like activity or type. So let's say you're really involved in like music and you were involved in community service and you were involved in science activities. So you would group them in those orders. So as the reader is going down through the activities types, they're kind of seeing the same type of activities before moving to the next one. So it's kind of like clustered or like kind of like grouping together your activities in that fashion. So my activities were kind of a combination of the first two, and to me are kind of the easiest way to go, and it just makes the most sense to the reader, but I think clustering is a good option too. I know some people who chose to do that. So I just scooted over a little bit, so I'm going to put one of my activities right over here so you can look at it and follow along as we go through it. So the first thing that it says is activity type, and basically that's like a drop-down box. You don't have to write anything there, so it'll say like this one says science and math, one of them is like community service or like academic activity or like art. Like there's just a whole bunch of things you can do. So if you were going for the clustering method, then you would put ones together that kind of have this same initial tag. So the second thing that it says is position, leadership, description, and organization, name if applicable. So as you can see, mine says President of National Math Honor Society. So you just want to make it like simple, short, to the point, like what's the name of the thing. Yeah, you just want to put the name of what you did. And then it says position and leadership. So for me, I wasn't president the entire time that I was in it, but that is the highest level of leadership that I had. So I chose to just put it in there. So the first thing you're reading is you know that that's something that's still important to me, and I was actually currently president whenever I applied, so that's why I chose to put it there. You don't have a lot of characters, so just put exactly what it is, no fluff, no anything in this part. So the next section is probably the hardest one. It says, please describe this activity, including what you accomplished and any recognition you received, etc. So this one, you really have to keep it short. First off, don't write incomplete sentences. I don't really know anyone who wrote incomplete sentences. You don't need to write incomplete sentences because you don't have enough like really room to do so anyway. You just want to write kind of like what you did and maybe just like include all the important things. So for me, the important things for this one was that we did tutoring. That was the main activity. And then that I did it for 3 years and that I had a different level of membership in each year. So it's kind of a lot of information that I tried to pack into this thing. So I would recommend putting like a verb or like a word that is very clear at the beginning of it. So my first word was tutor, and that was basically the majority of what I did in this organization. I didn't put like in National Math Honor Society or like I did blah blah blah. I just like started with tutor, and I think that made it strong, simple, to the point. So I put tutor math students in Algebra 1 through Calculus BC concepts. Bam, that's pretty short and you know exactly what I did. Going into the next thing, I put comma member, and then I put in parentheses 10th grade because that's when I was only a member. General officer 11th. I didn't say grade again because I had indicated that that was there in the previous thing, and then it's president 12th. So right there I have exactly what I did and exactly what my leadership position was in each year, and that fulfilled all the characters pretty much. Then it says participate in grade levels, so that's pretty easy. You just kind of check off the boxes in what grade you were in it. Time participation, I only did this during the school year, so I think the options are during the school year, like all year or on school break. I believe those are the 3 options. So all year would be like school plus summer and all the breaks and things like that. So now let's move into the hours, and this one is also a bit of a tricky one because you're not spending the same amount of hours in every single organization every single week. For the most part, like I didn't do this thing 1 hour every single week for 36 weeks. So basically, you just want to make sure that the weeks times the hours equates to how much you did in that entire year. So basically what I'm saying here is that on average, I spent about 36 hours in this organization per grade, because this deems a year as a grade, right? Because it says participating grade levels. So in my head, that means that each year would be like 10th grade is 1 year, even though that goes from like, you know, August to June, that's still 1 year. On average, I spent about 36 hours in this organization per grade. So some weeks I spent less than 1 hour because I wouldn't do any planning or tutoring that week. And then some weeks I would spend more than that because we would have meetings and I would also be tutoring and things like that. So I just added up all of the hours that I did total over the 3 years because my involvement increased as I went throughout the organization because I had more leadership roles, and then I divided that big number by 3. So by 3 would be on average how many hours I spent there, and then I divided that by how many weeks I was in it, and I determined the weeks based on how many weeks I was in school minus things like spring break, Christmas break, and like things like that. So I came up with a number taking off all my like off days of school, as it's like 36 weeks that I'm actually spending in this activity. So my number of hours that I completed on average in 1 year divided by 36 weeks that I was spending in it came out to like 1 hour per week. So I know it's kind of a lot of weird math, but this is kind of the best way you can make sure that you're not lying about the amount of hours you're doing. Because even though it's, you know, it's hard because I didn't spend 1 hour every week. Sometimes I spent more and sometimes I spent less. This way I'm being the most honest about the hours I spent in the organization. I'm taking into account that I increased throughout the years, and then I'm taking into account that I calculated the amount of weeks I spent in it minus the breaks. I wasn't doing it over break, things like that. So you kind of have to just figure out the math that works for you, but ultimately the weeks times the hours that you're writing in this box should equate to the amount of hours that you spent on average per grade. And to me, that is the most truthful way to do it. It kind of takes a lot of time, so this activity section definitely took me a while to like figure out all the math, do things like that. But I don't know, for me it was worth it, and I was confident that I was being genuine about what I was doing. If you just put that you did like a ton of hours like in every single activity, it's gonna kind of pose a red flag, and you definitely don't want that. You don't want the admissions officers to ever think that you're lying or things like that. And also, you know, the activities that you're spending the most time in should probably show up in some other essays or supplements, because those should probably be the ones that you're most passionate about. So if those connections aren't there, but you have a lot of hours in something, I don't know, it's just gonna be a little fishy and suspicious. So make sure you're doing that math in the way that I told you, or, you know, some other way where you're not lying about your hours at all, because you never want the admissions officer to be like, I don't know, that seems a little fishy, I don't know if they're being truthful, because that is just, that's not good. So I wanted to show you just one more that I did so you can kind of see the other way to approach the little description section. So this was a community service activity, and the way that I described it was school club, which identifies what the organization was, that participates, which is the verb, in group community service activities. So there was what it was, what we do, at homeless shelters / pet orphanages, which kind of further defines the activity that we do. And then I put a period, and then I kind of went into one more little piece, was that attended leadership conferences as an officer. So it was kind of like 2 things that we did, or the second part just that I did. So this is a little bit different than the other one, because the other one was more explicit and was kind of more obvious about what I should put here. And this one was more of, I have to take in all these activities that we did and fit it into the small word count. And then since we're on the second one, I'll just go into the last thing that it says is, are you going to participate in a similar activity in college? I don't really think this makes that much of a difference. I don't know, I didn't put yes for all of them, but I did put yes for everything that was related to STEM, community service, and dance, because yes, I do intend to participate in something of that sort when I'm in college. So to this one I kind of referred to the very first point where it was like activity and type. So if I wanted to do one of those, then I'd put yes, but you don't have to put yes for every single one. I don't think that would like impress them really or anything. Just again, be honest about that. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and maybe got a little bit of instruction on how to go about filling out this Common App section. I do think this is one of the most important sections, and this is kind of where you're laying the foundation for like essays and supplements that you're going to write later. So you want to make sure that your descriptions are professional, to the point, and easy to understand. I just wanted to say really quick that I've been answering a lot of your guys' DMs about essays and stuff. I'm trying my absolute best to answer all of them and going through as much stuff as you guys need, but just know that whenever I go to Stanford in a month, I'm not going to be able to do that as much. I'm going to have to be focusing on school and things like that, but throughout this month, you know, still feel free to DM me, and I'm doing my absolute best to get to every single one of you guys. So again, good luck as you're going into this year's college application season. If this is the first video you're seeing of me, thank you so much for coming and watching, and also thank you to everybody who has been watching my videos in the past. I would love it so much if you guys would subscribe to my channel. I post a lot of videos about college applications and college application advice. So stay tuned for Tuesday's video where I will be going through my Common App activities and kind of the order I chose to do it in, and the activities that ultimately helped me get into Stanford. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.